Thank you, Chair. What we're trying to do is we're connecting the dots, and we've heard a lot of different evidence about involvement in Eskom, about various families, Gupta families with links. And so when we look at the role of Mr. Machila, and we see some of the evidence that or some of the documents we've got, we see that Minister Gigaba appointed him to Eskom's board in June 2011 and as acting CEO on 1 April 2014. And now we've also got emails, the so-called Gupta emails that are before us, and of course those implicated can dispute their veracity, but to the effect that on the 22nd of March, Mr. Salim Essa sent Mr. Majila's CV to Mr. Tony Gupta, and Mr. Tony Gupta forwarded that to Mr. Duduzane Zuma on the 23rd of March, and he was soon thereafter appointed. Now, you might not have knowledge to that, but clearly when you start to see the then interference with the IT process to stop certain processes that were ongoing, and you see the new age breakfast promotion, one can very clearly start to connect the dots and to see an involvement.
Issues I would not have known about, all of the underlying emails that you referred to. All I can say is that I could see that the tone in the company was changing, and the way in which we normally drove things was different. That could well be because you have a new leader who feels that we are not working effectively as executives, or that there is a problem in terms of how what people's objectives are. So I think that the facts that I see it as I do around the IT contract, the new age, the steam generator, is that this was not a process that I understood anymore. It was an unpredictable outcome in procurement, and I did not accept that, and I decided to leave. So connecting the dots, yes, but we're connecting the dots now in 2017, and that's why I think we really need to ask those people.
I understand. Yeah. Taking you back to that time, though, you would have been aware of the Public Finance Management Act. You would have been aware of governance at Eskom,
exactly.
And suddenly you start to see a shift taking place, and
exactly.
You start raising, and it's fine that you don't necessarily connect the dots, but the new age deal, for example, here you've got a sponsorship initially for a year, you think it could be beneficial. Suddenly, there's a request to change from 1 year to 3 years and remove a standard exit clause. Now, just from straightforward governance, surely that must raise red flags.
Absolutely.
And what did you then do to try to stop that process?
Well, firstly, the finance director did not sign the contract. She did not co-sign the contract.
Yes.
We discussed this at the board, audit and risk. But it was signed and it was implemented. And as I said, it came up then at the audit, and it was reported as an irregularity to IRBA that the CEO had exceeded his mandate in authorizing this contract. So we did address it within the governance framework, and it was discussed.
Sure. But to date, no disciplinary action was ever instituted. It was raised as an audit query. I picked that up. Yeah,
it was.
But the contract went through, the money was paid.
Yes, it was paid.
Irregularly. And in contravention, one could probably say, of Public Finance Management Act, given yes. the audit query that was raised.
I agree.
Then the IT procurement process, is it correct that it could have led to a saving of almost R1 billion? That is some of the documentation we got. Had that contract not been extended and had the IT been done internally, as was one of the proposals. There's an allegation that due to Mr. Machila's intervention, it cost Eskom almost R1 billion because of the human resources issues, the delays, and then eventually at the last minute, that contract was extended. And are you aware that it caused substantial loss to Eskom?
1 minute left.
I had already left at this time, so I do know that it was banked as part of the savings. It did not materialize, so it is something that they still have to make up We needed to save, at the time, over 60 billion rand over 5 years. That was one that was contributing towards it. So, yeah, it was the actual financial outcome would then be post my event, post my time.
A last small issue, and that is obviously the Koeberg replacements of the boilers has still not happened due to litigation and that. And you, as an engineer with a wonderful background, surely that's a matter of concern to you as well, for people living in Cape Town, that those boilers to this day, today, have still not been replaced.
So the steam generators are on a path to be replaced, I believe, but I'm also now following from the public domain,
Yes.
honourable member. So I do think that they have managed the operations around the steam generator, but from the public information that's out there, that Eskom has said that if beyond 2025, you would have to shut down. So shut down Koeberg if you do not replace the steam generators in time. So that is the key challenge.
Wasn't it 2017, 2018?
So that is for alignment with everyone else on the operating, but an absolute hard shutdown, 2025. And that you'll find in the Koeberg public safety information, that the forums they have to discuss it, where they've shared that information in the public space.
And thank you from our side for coming to give evidence. We really appreciate it.
Thank you
So much.